We're going to speak to our favourite doctor, who is, of course, Dr Dean Eggitt, GP and CEO of Doncaster's local medical committee. Dr Dean, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you too, Mike.
I mean, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong here, that the doctors' 5-day strike didn't particularly affect what you do, what your business is like, but did it, is my question?
Yeah, I wish that was the case, that it didn't affect us, but it did affect us. So we're a training practice here, as are many practices across England.
Right.
And that means then that we have resident doctors who provide appointments for us. And we
Okay.
had resident doctors who didn't turn up over the past few days. So we've had to come in and do extra shifts or ask patients to wait. And we will now have a bit of a backlog of patients trying to contact us over the next few weeks to catch up with that capacity.
Yes, because that was what I feared, actually, that, you know, it wasn't just the 5-day strike, it wasn't just what happened before, but it was what happens afterwards now as you try and catch up with what should have happened for the last week.
Yeah, there's a patient catch-up. So those patients who couldn't get through to us will now try to get through to us, and we'll see them eventually, and that will have a knock-on consequence for a few weeks. But even on the days when we were open and the resident doctors weren't here, those who were working were slotting in extra patients and overbooking clinics. So you caught me in a bad mood today, Mike, because quite frankly, I'm exhausted. Over the past few days, it's been extremely tiring, to the point where on Monday when I was driving home, I didn't quite feel safe. I felt a bit drunk. My brain wasn't working properly and I was struggling to put sentences together. I was just working so hard.
Wow. And, you know, you and I have been talking for quite a long time as well, Dean, and I was going to ask you, actually, have things improved under this government at all? You know, have you found that your job has got easier? It sounds like it hasn't.
No, I really wish it was the case that things have got easier. And that's, I think, possibly one of the distractions about the strikes, because people are striking over money, but of course, money isn't the only problem. You know, we have all of the ongoing issues that the NHS is a terribly difficult place to work in at the moment. We can't deliver the care that we need to for patients for all the same reasons we've discussed. We haven't got enough people, we haven't got enough rooms, we haven't got enough time, people are getting sicker, there's more treatments available, etc., etc. And the reality is, no matter how much you pay staff, all of those problems aren't going to go away. So if we give pay rises to resident doctors now, nurses next week, the consultants the week after, GPs the week after, the pressure is still there. And in a year or two's time, we're going to come back saying this is still untenable.
Right.
So there's something to be
and we're going to have less money
about the future of the NHS.
But,
well, exactly.
Right.
And if we look at just the resident doctors, you know, this is going to cost us £1 billion a year in pay rises and maybe 1.5 billion over a 10-year course when you factor in wage rises over those years. That's not really sustainable, is it?
No, it's not. But then again, you know, I've always said this, that you can probably find ways of saving money. I don't mean you personally, but the NHS. I mean, in the papers today, in the Mail, they've got a story saying the NHS has allowed trusts to spend almost £2 million on staff networks that have hosted a series of woke events over the past 2 years. And you've got staff attending things like Embracing Your Afro Curly Hair at University College London, International Pronouns Day at Barking, Havering and Redbridge University Hospital. You know, it's just madness, you know, and I bet you any money you and I could go in to the accounts department at the NHS and find millions and millions of pounds that you could save and put to proper use. And I don't mean just starve the NHS of money, but let them spend it properly.
I agree. The NHS is wasteful. We spend lots of money on things that have impact for small groups of patients or even large groups of patients. But is that impact really necessary when we can't afford the basic standards of care? And we really need to come back to the point that resident doctors are striking at the moment for pay. But in the horizon, we have nurses who are going to be striking for pay, consultants who are talking about it at the moment, and GPs who are going back to that discussion too. We cannot continue to throw money at the NHS without some form of radical change. And that radical change may well be either increase in taxes, and we all know that that's a bit of an issue, stopping wasteful spending in the NHS and actually go back to our core values, or say the NHS isn't really affordable and we need a different style of system, but we can't keep doing what we're doing.
No, absolutely right. Good to talk to you. Dr Dean Eggitt, thank you very much indeed. Get some sleep, get some rest, for heaven's sake. I used to tell him to work harder, but now he's exhausted because of the doctor's strike. Absolutely shocking.